Israel is warning that Hamas is trying to blow up the ceasefire after an attack on IDF troops in Gaza. Officials say the terror group is also working with Hezbollah and Iran to rebuild their threat on multiple fronts.
Meanwhile, a major intelligence bombshell reveals a terror network targeting Jews and Israelis across Europe. Paul Petit has more from Jerusalem.
A major break in the ceasefire after Hamas gunmen attacked Israeli troops operating inside the Gaza Strip. The army responded with a wave of airstrikes targeting a high-level meeting of Hamas commanders. The Trump administration is backing Israel's response, with one senior U.S. official reportedly accusing Hamas of lashing out after the UN passage of Trump's peace plan and an effort to shatter the ceasefire. This as Israel officials warn that Hamas and Hezbollah are rebuilding their forces with support from Iran to reestablish an axis of resistance against Israel. In Europe, Israel's National Intelligence Agency says it has uncovered a Hamas terror network operating across the region that has led to a wave of arrests. The Mossad says they're working with authorities in Germany, Austria, and other countries to expose weapon caches, explosives, and operatives plotting attacks on Israeli and Jewish targets. A key suspect is the son of senior Hamas leader Bassem Naim. Israel says the findings prove Hamas's top leadership is directing European terror operations despite public denials. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made a rare visit to the IDF-controlled buffer zone in Syria, calling Israel's presence there vital to his country's security.
We attach enormous importance to our ability, both defensive and offensive here, to protecting our Druze allies, and especially protecting the state of Israel and its northern border across the Golan Heights. This is a mission that could evolve at any moment.
The trip comes as quiet talks with Damascus over a security arrangement for southern Syria has stalled. And a new report out of London is sparking international outrage. A study of 300 Palestinian textbooks and dozens of teacher guides shows that the curriculum is still packed with anti-Semitism, in direct violation to an EU agreement signed last year. The analysis by the Impact SC research group says Jews are routinely depicted as deceitful and inherently corrupt enemies of Islam.
They started with education and rewriting the curriculum. Why? Because they understood that if they want to maintain power, they need to educate a future generation according to their values. The same thing ISIS did when they became a power.
One seventh-grade teacher guide even claims Israeli soldiers bash children's heads in front of their mothers and mutilate women for jewelry, and then it instructs students to draw those scenes. In Washington today, the White House is hosting the Israeli hostages recently released as part of the ceasefire deal. Former hostage Eitan Moore plans to give President Trump this letter and dreidel to thank him. Paul Petit, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, it just underlines this isn't a war against a nation state. It's not a war against a particular political group or a particular government. It's a war against an ideology, and it's an ideology of hate that is rooted in Islam. They go back to their religion, and in that religion, if you kill Jews, somehow or other, you've done something good for God. It boggles the Western mind to think this way, but this is what they are teaching their children, and they're doing it for generations. This literally goes back to before 1948. And when you look at the history of the conflict, please get educated on all of the various attacks against Jewish groups in Israel before Israel came into being, when it was still the British mandate. There were an incredible number of attacks. The most outlandish one is the massacre of Hebron from 1929. So if you want to say that somehow or other it's a response to occupation or the illegality of Israel, no, it goes much deeper than that, and it's much older than that. If we're going to win this war, and it is a war, we have to win it on ideological terms. And how do you convince the other side that if you blow yourself up in a marketplace or you massacre Jews, well, you're not going to heaven. You're going somewhere else. And that needs to be preached and proclaimed throughout the Middle East.